And now it's time for Sports Breakdown, brought to you by Mark's Smoothie Bar. They're so good, you'd sell your soul for one.
Sports Breakdown. With me today is Earl McCarthy, head swim coach at UCD and also lecturer as part of the Sport and Exercise Management program. Earl, it's a pleasure to have you on.
Sure, okay.
For you, really, I was hoping you could take us through what's like with high performance athletes on a daily basis.
Well, it depends on what day we are, what part of the cycle we're in, but a typical day for the first team would consist of 2 hours in the morning, then they'll go on to lectures. Some of them will have scheduled strength and conditioning in the afternoon, and then they come back for 2 hours in the evening. So in total, maybe anything from 4 to 5 hours a day. We don't train Sundays, and we only train Saturday morning, so it's pretty much a 6-day program.
And do you work mainly on technique and form because they come to you when they're 18? So surely by that stage they've got the fundamentals, or are you still honing that as they come in?
Both. Some of them come a little more gifted, a little more talented. Some of them should have probably corrected those things earlier.
Yeah.
We also operate at a higher standard, so it's a constant process.
Right. And just building off on that then, are you solely about in the pool or are you off the pool out of the pool as well, in terms of diet and also strength and conditioning you mentioned as well? Would you have a role in that or do you hand it over?
Strength and conditioning, if they're at Astra scholarship, it's
Yeah.
handled over in the at Astra section with George. The rest of them have one of the several gyms here to use.
Yeah.
I write the program, we put it together. The question on whether it's in water, out of water, is a question of excellence. If you want to be excellent at something or best at something, it's an entire lifestyle.
Right.
That applies to everything. It doesn't
Yeah.
have to be swimming, it could be any other sport or any other profession or any musical pursuit or artistic pursuit. To be excellent is a constant mindset. So from their perspective, yes, they are supplied with nutritional support, strength and conditioning support, social support. Whether they use it fully, whether they optimize it fully, or whether they make the right decision, because I'm not there in the evenings when they eat, I'm not there in the mornings when they eat. That's their choice. You're free to make those choices, but you're not free of the consequences of those choices.
And obviously these compete in both nationals and varsities. And is that mainly a yearly cycle or is that multiple yearly cycles?
The whole team is split into 3 squads, or 2 squads at the moment. First team, the second team, sometimes the third team. First team is year round. Their focus is international, national level.
Yeah.
We've had 2 guys qualify for World Student Games 2 weeks ago, and the window of opportunity hasn't closed yet, so we're still kind of hoping maybe a couple more. We've had some people at European Championships, so that's a full year program.
Right.
The varsity level, they only have to swim within the semester,
Okay.
so they don't really swim the summer term, and they come back in September. But their goals and objectives are more participation and universities than it would be European Championships.
Yeah, so it's these guys then obviously, the more talented ones that look to kick on towards high representation, World Championships, the Olympics.
Correct.
Going into this then, in the 4-year cycle and long-term athlete development, would that be their first real taste of a longer cycle of 3-4 years?
Most of them have been swimming since a young age. It's one of those sports you have to master. It's not something you come to when you're 18 and 19, so they would have been part of this process between, say, 12 and 13, 14. They would have swum at national level several times before they got to me. Making that jump from national level, youth national level in Ireland to international level is a very, very big jump.
Yeah.
So this really is one 4-year cycle, 1 3-year.
Yeah.
Most of them are here for 3 or 4 years.
Yeah.
So this is it. This is the business end of
Their
their
swim
entire
careers.
swimming career. If they don't make it within the first 5-6 semesters, it's unlikely they're going to make it.
So it's quite a cutthroat road in some sense.
Well, they're unlikely to swim. They might do, but when you graduate at 22, 23, you're in a non-professionalised sport, you're not making any money, you haven't got to European Championships, you haven't broken through, one is unlikely to stay training 6 hours a day if there isn't a return. If you have broken through and you can see, well, I could go on for 1 more
national level. It is Olympian made yourself when you swam in '96. What was that like for you in that 4-year cycle that you've done from '92 to '96?
That was the hardest thing I've ever done.
Can you take us through any of that?
Yeah, I had to immigrate. I left and moved to Germany. I didn't have any support, didn't have any funding, and nobody cared. I had to get 2 jobs, so I trained before, after. I got out training in the evenings, maybe 40 minutes early to get back to do an evening shift, so it was a tough gig, but that's what it took in those days.
So athletes now in with UCD, and they have the strength and conditioning programs. They have the diet and health support, and you compare that back to what you experienced. What's that like for you then?
That's a great question. That's a very good question. Somewhat envious. Obviously, when you look around us, when everything's here, it's envious. And it's not just me. I think back to my time, and there's people I swam with that was better than me, and we never had this ever had anything remotely like this. So part of me is envious, but also part of it is perhaps that's what it took to make us that group, if that makes sense to you. Sometimes it's the
slightly grittier world that tends to get further.
Yeah. Sometimes it is that. Sometimes this becomes now, for a lot of the swimmers here, it's become the norm. This is the minimum now. They walk in, they just, well, it should be here. And yet they
almost live in a bubble almost.
A little bit like, they go, actually, this is a key component. The other factors, the internal factors, you have to be self-driven as well. I mean, with the right attitude in an old pool, it's better than the wrong attitude in a brand new pool.
You said you went to Germany when you were training for the Olympics. You've also coached in Germany, right?
Yeah, a little bit.
Was there a difference between the German style of coaching and then coaching here in Ireland?
At that time, absolutely, Because the East Germans and the West Germans, when that wall came down, their philosophy towards training was utterly different. In fact, mainland Europeans have a different philosophy towards it. Ours is still British dominated, possibly American dominated, and the mainland Europeans have a slightly different focus.
Is ours slightly more cozier than this?
No, actually ours is a little harder. So that raises an interesting question, doesn't it?
It does.
Yeah, so, but then you're asking me trade secrets.
I won't go quite into that then. This is your first time from the camera. You've been with RTE coverage as well for the Olympics. What was that like?
That's good fun. It's always good fun. It's always interesting. It's always interesting. Yeah, it's an interesting experience to be able to. And for a few brief weeks before years, people care about swimming or any of the other sports. We don't often watch the other athletic sports, but the Olympics come around, you're going to watch everything. So whatever it is, those 4 years, circus comes to town, everybody watches it, and then it goes for 4 years. And it's dominated again by the 3 main sports.
Right. And then I suppose my final question for you is, with the theory of coaching, and with that, is it more a management style of coaching that you're teaching and students are learning about, or is it this is how to be a coach?
That's also a very good question. I think, it's mine because it's actually a question of my PhD. That is, I think, it's like a driving license. That adage that you really only learn after you get your driver's license. There's a minimum you need to take the car out and then you learn. It's a little bit like that in coaching. So theory of coaching, you must have the base. You may reject half of this when you leave. We don't actually tell you, I don't tell you this is it, I tell you these are some ideas out there. And I think what happens then in your own evolutionary process, you take the parts that work, or you meld them together and you create your own style. But you cannot do that without the basics. So you learn the basics, and as it goes on, you start to strip away what's unnecessary.
So students won't come in here raw and then be given a coaching philosophy, be told this is your philosophy and this is what you're going to do. You're just more of it. This philosophy is how
these are several ideas, several approaches. This is what the data suggests is a very common expression, because what you tell them today in 6 years' time might be different. You asked me there about German training. Yeah, that was 20 years ago. That's different. It's changed again. There's new ideas. What you teach today in 10 years' time is out of date. It's moved on. So what you're actually teaching is the basics, the understanding, the framework, and hopefully the critical analysis to go, listen, do not accept this as dogma and religion. Take it, be able to understand it, and analyze it and criticize it. Someone else is going to come out with an idea, a new training idea. You've got to be able to look at that and go, does this have any scientific basis?
Tara spoke of that as well, critical analysis. And her change isn't scary. It should be
It's
well
evolution.
into it. And I suppose for you then, you said in 10 years' time what you'd be teaching could be seen as wrong. How are you working to combat that?
That's what science is. That's what all scientific papers are. That's what all PhDs are, masters. You know, you're constantly reading new material. There's constantly that, again, get back, the data suggests.
So for you, the learning never stops then?
No, it can't.
No.
You know, I'm dead if it does. Of course it doesn't. You know, I mean, what was 20 years ago was cutting edge, and now that if it is true that that information is accurate, it basically over the years breaks up, and then everyone gets to learn it.
Yeah.
And as soon as everyone gets to learn it, it no longer has that advantage.
Oh, yeah.
Because everybody's doing the same thing. It was like strength and conditioning for swimming came in maybe the 60s. Maybe some people thought it was such a radical idea. Now it's standardized. So whatever advantage you had by introducing that, if there is an advantage with it, in the 70s, once everyone starts doing it, that advantage is gone, you're going to find the next thing. And that usually comes from scientific research, or at least either scientific research or incredibly innovative coaches who are able to develop this out of their own.
Just for the students that will be coming in, one module that they will study is strategic planning. Is that an element that you would then look at as well when you're looking to advance your own coaching standard within 5 years?
Everything is needed. Everything. Like I said, your own philosophy comes from learning everything.
Yeah.
You strip away what you don't need, or you strip away what is inefficient, or is out of date, or doesn't work for you. I mean, 10 angels could come down and tell me one way of, this is the only way, and I'm like, don't do that. I don't like it, I don't understand it. And the athletes I have do not respond to it. I mean, you can go a certain style in swimming, but I know the guys I have, they don't do it, they don't physiologically respond. I've got to pick a different
Is
way.
that quite a tough balance to get in terms of this is going against what I believe, but there seems to be a huge amount of success with it? Or would you abandon that and say, this is what I believe, and this is how I'm going to do it? If I fail with this, I fail with it, but I'm not going to leave my own moral, ethical coaching.
Well, ethics are slightly different, but philosophy, I think you choose it, try it, works, take parts of it. If it doesn't work, you want to have a good reason, to keep it or you get rid of it. But it also depends on who you're coaching. That's the art of coaching. I mean, what works for this bunch might not work in 6 years' time. You're going to get a different type of athlete, mentally different, emotionally different type of athlete, physiologically different type of athlete. They respond differently to different types of training. So, in effect, you coach what's in front of you.
Yeah.
But that's where I'm getting back to doing all these modules. The more tools you have in the toolbox, the more you can rummage through them and go, great, this is what I'm doing this term, because they're all sprint orientated, and then 2 semesters time I've got a different type of cohort in front of me, and I rummage through the box and go, actually, that stuff I read before, that might work in this situation.
Okay.
So the more you know, you don't use everything all the time, but the more tools you have in that toolbox, the more effective you can be as a coach.
Well, I think we'll call it there. Thanks very much for coming on. It's been very interesting. Thanks very much. Hi, and welcome to this week's edition of Sport. Start again. Pleasure to have you on.
Yeah.
Right, good.
I was hoping you could take us through your average day as a swim coach here, working with high athletes, high performance athletes.
Yeah.